Hello everybody. Today I am going to be reviewing the Star Wars Christmas Holiday Special from 1978. And, if you've seen it, you know this is a requirement. Yes, I know, I'm doing another one. I said all the Star Wars movies are behind me, but you know what? It's Christmas. This is in the Christmas spirit, so shut up. Okay, so I'm going to assume that most people have, been on this journey with me as I have reviewed all 9 of the Star Wars films this year, and all of that was quite fun, but the one piece of Star Wars media that has always eluded me my entire life is the Star Wars Holiday Special. And you're probably thinking, how could somebody like me, who was such a big, Star Wars fan as a child, not be aware of that particular holiday special? And I think it's because I outgrew my obsession with Star Wars when I was a teenager, maybe when I was like 15, 16. And so, that was kind of like at the beginning of the social media age and YouTube and all of that. So my ability to be able to seek out very obscure, ancient American media is maybe not as great as it is today. But, in my teen years, I did become aware of it eventually. And, the bizarre nature of it had been built up for me to such a degree. And yet still, I never got around to it. Until now. This special came out at a time in the late 1970s where, holiday specials, Christmas specials were a really big thing in America. When it comes to this particular one, George Lucas had this, story that he had developed at some point that is solely based on the Wookiees, and I don't know, why not? And CBS, I think, approached him to do this holiday special, and they decided, I guess, to build it all around this said story in the collaboration of it. And I don't know, I can just see George Lucas now. I can see like fly on the wall in the board meeting or whatever, and he's probably just like, well, I'll keep the brand going, and it's good for business. Yeah, we'll do a Christmas special. It's fine. And so, in a sense, with this particular special movie, whatever you want to call it, we get a sense of what Star Wars would eventually become. It is a sort of ominous overshadowing in a way, but it has a sort of eccentric charm about it. But at the end of the day, it is purely a branding decision, and it is kind of the beginning of the end of Star Wars when it comes to being this innovative and creative personal piece of work. And now it is, as I've always said in all my reviews, it's slowly becoming this industry. Or not slowly, actually abruptly. I mean, whether you love Star Wars or hate it, I think you do have to agree that it is one of the most successful franchises out there due to how it can constantly generate buzz and revenue around very specific times. That way each generation gets its exposure to, that particular material. And yes, there is a sadness there, naturally. Any instance where I am seeing Star Wars slowly become this Frankenstein monster that is out of George Lucas's control, it is both fascinating but also very sad at the same time. But, when I watch this, I have to say, I do not feel that same kind of sadness like I do with the prequels or with the J.J. Abrams entries or Rian Johnson, any of that. But some people do think that this is the worst piece of Star Wars media that ever existed. And some people even say that it is worse than a movie like Rise of Skywalker. And I can see maybe where they're coming from, but they're wrong. I think this is far too strange and special to be lumped in with anything as soulless as that. But yeah, I don't know. I look at this as merely kind of like a junk food interlude between the original Star Wars film from 1977 and The Empire Strikes Back. And it is insane to me. It is absolutely insane to me that this special came out before The Empire Strikes Back. If I had watched that, not having seen Empire Strikes Back yet, I would think, oh God, I have major trepidations with however they're going to take this franchise. I would be terrified. No, that was more kind of what I felt about like Return of the Jedi, but yeah, I used to think that Return of the Jedi was the first, piece of Star Wars media where, it's really, we're starting to see it as this corporate investment of sorts. But no, it is the Star Wars special now that I've seen it. It is a very strange sort of experience where you really do feel like you're in a psychosis state that you can't get out of. And I don't know how to put it into words. This is so of its era, and yet I am just utterly baffled as to who this special was made for. Is it supposed to be made for kids? Because, naturally Star Wars is for kids, so you'd think. But no, it doesn't quite seem to be. But is it for teenagers? I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Maybe the targeted demographic is supposed to be coked up pimps with handlebar mustaches. Honestly, it could be all 3 of them. It could be none of them. It could be one of them. I don't know. This is like the Muppets mixed with like Soul Train, mixed with Xanadu, mixed with basically every bad variety show that you saw on your couch at midnight in the 70s coming down from ecstasy. And trust me, I am not even scratching the surface of this entire special. This is such an experience. It is such a journey and a sight to behold. We begin on the planet of Kashyyyk, which is of course the home to the Wookiees, and we get to meet Chewbacca's family, and they are waiting for Chewbacca to return so they can all celebrate Life Day together. So we get to see the domestic situation, Wookiee family life, as it is meant to unfold, and I love that they make this great artistic statement where they have no subtitles for what they're saying at all. You just have moaning back and forth constantly for minutes at a time. And I'm starting to worry around this time that maybe this might be just a little bit too much for me, and maybe I don't want to watch it, but I don't know. The funkadelic bravado, I don't know, it evoked something in me, and I had to continue. Just something about like the recycled stock footage from the previous films, and the makeup that is caked on Mark Hamill's face, and the eyeliner. He looks like Al Jolson out of The Jazz Singer. Just the dirt yellows and oranges of the 1970s that you see here, and like just this weird interdimensional cable sort of design of this particular special. And I don't know, it is just so, like, it's more fascinatingly bad than it is offensively bad, as I said at the beginning. I can't help it. For something to be so bad it's good, it's gotta have charm, and I think that this has all the charm. And like I said, it is next door to Return of the Jedi, and so it has a lot of those same flaws in the same way, weirdly, you know, where it's just like there is a lack of risk in the storytelling. Like, as an example, in Return of the Jedi, having all of the rebels just stop in the middle of a very important war to go save Han Solo. And it's like, I think normally in a situation like that, in a third movie, I don't think like that something like that, you know, kind of more of a side mission of sorts, would have such a big chunk of a major motion picture runtime. Because, you know, suddenly the risk and the war and all of that, it feels a little bit flimsy. There's a playing house sort of quality to it. But I do enjoy that, kind of the hangout sections of the Star Wars movies, like the Cantina Band scene. It has like a Rio Bravo sort of feeling to it. Both of those things are so much better than this special, but I really do see a lot of those same elements there. But Jesus Christ, I never thought I would say this, but it was a really good decision in Return of the Jedi to have Ewoks instead of Wookiees. I know initially they wanted to go more for like the Wookiee planet, but yeah, no, just based on this holiday special, the Wookiees are really, 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 really annoying. And it's like Wookiees work best as a side character who doesn't have to say a lot, not a featured character. Even in Revenge of the Sith, I know they featured Kashyyyk in that. You know, it was very much a throwaway because, you know, I don't think it works. And I cannot believe that Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill are all in this movie. It's glorious. It's so fantastic that they're in it. It's just like, I would not have it any other way, but I certainly know that that wouldn't happen today because, you know, those contracts have a lot more specifications now. And I love that they're barely in this because they had to make way for the very juicy Wookiee drama going on here. But yeah, we know they were all hungover and they're just doing what they gotta do. And I have to admit, I enjoyed a little bit of looking into the domestic life of the Wookiees just because looking into the interior world of certain citizens, residents, whatever in the Star Wars world, that's not something that Star Wars is very interested in. But you know, I can't help it. That's just the kind of person I am. When I saw A New Hope, the first thing I was thinking about after it was over was, what was Aunt Beru cooking before, you know, the home got raided by the stormtroopers? Was that fennel? Was that bok choy? I don't know. But yeah, the interior world building here, you know, it's fun. It's fun. And here you have Mala, who was Chewbacca's wife, I guess, and she's cooking dinner and she's watching like a cooking show so she can, you know, get everything right, and we all know that part. As we watch them stir, whip, we realize, the intent here was to break our minds. It was not to choose violence, but to choose basically lobotomies. But the constant musical numbers and the strange interludes, it's just like, it is so random. But I did kind of like the Diane Carroll song. You know, I know that I'm very boring and like I tend to go weak in the knees for anything that is generically psychedelic from that time, but yeah, I'm a sucker for it, what can I say? And I believe that Bob Mackie did the dress, or I think he did a lot of the costumes for this particular movie, and it's like, why is Bob Mackie doing the costume designs for the Star Wars Holiday Special? Again, this is another one of those weird pieces of trivia where you're just like, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I can't believe that I have been saying this entire time that the most like psychedelic thing in all of the original Star Wars trilogy is the cave sequence that's on Dagobah in Empire Strikes Back. And it's like, no, I was so wrong. It was in this sequence, in this like fifth-rate funkadelic maggot brain shit. I enjoy too the Empire in this situation because we get to see them kind of like dominate the citizens, the oppressed citizens, and you know, they are controlling the television propaganda and all of that, raiding the homes as they do. The Empire basically saying they can't allow the rebels and the Wookiees to celebrate Life Day. Mwahaha. It's just I don't know. I don't know what to say. And for all of those people who think that The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker is worse than this, I have just one question for you, and it is, do either of those include Harvey Korman thrusting and spanking his own ass during an instructional video? No. No, they don't. I feel pretty much like all of the side characters in this had more dignity and were better written than any of the ones in the new trilogy. And yeah, I'm very serious about that. Even B. Arthur is in this. And yeah, she's just playing another version of what she plays in everything else, but I thought she was actually pretty good in this. Though the song that she sings at the end of her section, oh my God, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and it is nightmarish, really. It gave me like Requiem for a Dream vibes, like where Sarah Goldfarb is like watching her TV and suddenly they all come into her living room and are dancing. It gave me that sort of feeling, or like I'm on a merry-go-round that just can't stop. And the song also gave me like Poor Unfortunate Souls by Ursula vibes, but maybe that's just me, I don't know. There's also a fabulous sequence in the middle of the movie that is animated for some reason, and it is the first time that we are introduced to Boba Fett, and that is you know, usually a trivia question that can stump some fans. But yeah, as you can see, there's just no flow. There is no pacing. It's just this weird winding journey where you end up places you never expected to end up. And it's a very slow experience as well. It's painfully slow. It's just lumbering along. It's like you're being dragged through mud. And yet somehow, even in the midst of that, I was still constantly surprised at what I'd find around each corner. And I can't figure out while I'm watching it if I'm mentally losing it, or if I am bored, or if I am aroused. And it's a feeling that I feel somehow okay with. And I love how it ends like a Queen music video featuring the Wookiees. It's somehow fitting. And of course, Carrie Fisher singing us that beautiful, memorable, moving piece of music. We celebrate our day of peace. And you can see Harrison Ford behind her, and he looks like he is silently contemplating going Travis Bickle on everybody's ass here. We all enjoy certain aspects of pop culture. It is a time capsule, and all of that can be very comforting to look back on. And while this one, as I said, it is a representation of a lot of things that I dislike, you know, especially artistry becoming a very soulless industry and destroying a lot of that personality and creativity. But I don't know, there's just something about it. It is so of its era, as I said, it is so strange. It is such a misfire. It is like this meandering, very uncomfortable sort of experience that only something from this period could possibly do. And I like that it's not Star Wars at all, and it's kind of taking advantage of all these very strange, you know, aspects of the period for sure. And there's something that is attractive about things that are, you know, excessively bad like this. I'd rather it be kind of funky and a little bit trivial rather than something like massive and like soul-crushing and all of that, like a lot of the Star Wars entries. So I would say, if you have not seen this, truly, it is something that should be seen by every Star Wars fan. As somebody who had never seen it before, and it has been built up to me so much, so often, I thought there's no way it's going to live up to the hype. It totally did. This was such an experience. I think I'm probably going to watch it every Christmas from now on. Yeah, just do like Die Hard, Star Wars Holiday Special. It's perfect. But yes, that is my review for the holiday special. Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to plug my website as always. It is deepfocuslens.com. I'm an artist. I do commissioned portraits, and I also sell prints of my work. If that is something that you're interested in, you can always go to the website below. And if you have a question about a commission or a print, you can always email me. My email is in the description box below as well. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons who are wonderful. Guys, thank you so much for your support. If you are interested in supporting, the link for that is below, as well as the rest of my social media information. You can watch more videos here, and you can subscribe if you'd like. Catch you next time.